And that was the abundance mindset that I'm thinking, especially because the client didn't leave him. We found a way together to keep him with him and like brainstormed a couple ways to understand what was going on with the company, what was going on with them. And but it felt so good to realize how real it is that things multiply because I referred to him another project early today, just because I remembered that if this guy is doing a good work enough to think that one of his clients is needs to be okay regardless with who he is working with, then he's already a good candidate for any client of mine that I trust and I would pass along. And I didn't have that client before. And I realized that it literally multiplied. I don't think the client that I referred him early today would have shown up if I would have not been thinking, oh my God, this guy is such a cool guy, and I can send him some work, and I can trust him without needing to work previously with him. So I think that's where abundance shows up when you're not expecting it, but you need to be present and prepared to receive it. And I think, and all of us here, as we keep on growing through Core Circle, we are we are putting ourselves in the line of abundance, in the energy of abundance, that things are gonna multiply. We are each other's multipliers, from helping one another when a project is not in the right place, from offering a different perspective on how to tackle something. Each of these things is a multiple, 2x, 3x, 10x of our heart, of our soul, of our business. We just need to stay in this abundance mindset and complete.
Beautiful. Thank you. We are live, and we're doing this starting in a circle from the middle. Um, Thank you, Marcia, for that. I'm gonna have you repeat it a bit more. We're practicing. We're doing it over and over again. If you're watching this live, this is the beginning of Core Circle Live on October 16th. It's an experiment in co-creation. We are all co-creating, and Honopono Ono, which is I love you, please forgive me, something. I'm gonna add some more before agreements there at the top. Giving credit to Keone for this one, and together we can build anything. And it's 100% in Spanglish, even though I don't think we've done a whole. Actually, no, yeah, actually, Mauro and I did a whole question in Spanglish recently. Here's our agenda, the flow for today. Magically with our hours in military time in Europe now, and today's a little different since we're uh, adjusting our time schedule for our guest, who is Lorraine Molina. And I was going to bring up her LinkedIn, but I'll let her introduce herself. She's a super important designer to. Here's how I'll put it to you guys, to the people here today. We're here because she's been a continual reminder to me to keep going with the community. The days that I want to give up, the days that I'm like, I'm gonna go get a job as an executive somewhere, just fuck this shit. She's like, no, 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 keep on doing it, keep on doing it, because it's important to you and to us as a community of creative people. The second claim to fame would be that the exercise in my core called the North Star was actually me coaching her a few years ago when she hadn't found a job in 6 months, and she's like, I don't know what to do. And I said, well, let's sit down. And we were designing her business cards, or I was helping her design them, giving her some feedback. And we ended up just doing that exercise in the back of the Figma file, as is, freestyle. And then you guys have experienced it, everybody here who's done my core. So that she's going to show her work and the things that she's passionate about, but really the main topic is abundance and investing. That's really what we want to talk about today. So I'm going to start with a drop-in, and I will model it. What does abundance mean to me? My name is José Caballer. My Fido is Obnoxious Flaky. I am in Panama City, Panama, and I am a facilitator, strategist, designer, y locochon, and person who needs to be present enough to not go off the rails. To me, abundance para mí es algo interesante, because growing up in Latin America and having that kind of like sense of survival. Let's put it this way: my mom passed away but during the challenge of having to raise money to buy plane tickets to go to the Dominican Republic to see her mom, because her husband, my father, had left her with 3 boys, and she was freaking the fuck out. So that kind of survival energy was, very present when that happened. And one of the first things that I experienced, or I witnessed when I came down here, was, oh, I get it. I mean, we're in survival in the States too. There's no, nobody has a, what do you call it? Whatever it is when you own the market for survival, energy. And what I realized in my own story, and this is the transition into what abundance means to me, is that at my grandmother's house, no matter what situation, she had fucking 9 children. Like, no matter what situation, I remember her figuring it out and solving it. And the children became the abundance, because, my uncle, who dropped out of college because they wouldn't let him have his race car that he souped up because it was too loud. So he said, fuck you to the dean. And ended up becoming an entrepreneur and making way more money than all his siblings who went to college to get professional education degrees. So he ended up maintaining my grandmother and helping with his entrepreneurial pursuits. His kids became entrepreneurs. I became entrepreneur because of the example of my uncle. Mi tío negro, this one's for you, Marce. Actually, no, mi tío Chemon, my other uncle is tío negro. The reason I'm sharing that is that at the end of the day, my grandmother lived, as an example of faith in action inside her community, and died, on a 200-acre mountaintop surrounded by nature and flowers and a beautiful garden that my uncle bought for her last 20 years. Nothing was ever lacking because of the community. You needed help, this lady from church would come and like brainstorm how to raise money for her kids' education. There was no qualms about talking about money. It was like, it wasn't even about survival. It was about faith. So that was a very different thing. And we're not talking about God or religion. I'm talking about faith in the possibility. So to me, abundance is not having doubt and having faith and leaving it, to bringing it to the community and bringing it to us, and being honest about the fact that, like, if I don't have any revenue in the next month, will I starve to death? Will the rent go unpaid? No, it won't. I mean, I won't starve to death, and the rent will be paid. Like, and why? Abundance, community, like, residuals, all these different things that you set up that are systems that get implemented. So I'm complete. that's my what does abundance mean to me. And I'll pick Marce since you got brought in halfway through on the invocation. We'll blend the drop in with the invocation and then choose somebody to go after you.
Absolutely. So I'm glad I have an opportunity to organize the thoughts that I was saying before. So abundance, what it means to
Name, Fido,
oh,
location,
yeah,
what you
sorry.
do, sorry.
So my name is Marcelo Alejandro Russo. I'm originally from Argentina. My Fido is Evil Dorky. I'm live in Miami, currently in Orlando visiting. And what do I do? I I think I want to call myself like I'm the vessel that connects people. I'm I'm the CEO of an agency that brings ideas to life through branding, product, design, websites. But that's not all that I am. I am much more than that. And that leads me to think about the abundance because I am not one thing. We are not only one thing. And abundance for me means we were talking about faith. Abundance means connection. Abundance means there's connecting with people and being a nexus point of multiple ideas, personalities, goals, objectives. That is abundant to me to be able to listen to all of them, house them, and from the best of the places, leverage them. Make sure that I can make those connections, that we can make those connections and create this network effect that is the multiplier that abundance preaches about, the multiplier that means nothing is ever depleted. We are we are constantly growing the pie that we are all eating at the same time, like whether it's a market, the tool, or something. And abundance shows up whenever you're not expecting it, but it's there, and that's why uh, some people will make it akin to faith, but um, being an evil dorky, in my case, faith is part of the other side of my brain, my logic side of the brain, and everything that needs to have like things in place is 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 telling this story when you show up. People show up with you, and when there's a problem, that network will not multiply the problem, will multiply the solution from additional voices, additional perspectives, and additional opportunities. You don't know when the next opportunity is going to come, but if you're connected to that network, you know that the opportunity is going to show up. And that's how sometimes people say, keep showing up, keep showing up, is keep being part of that network. Do not sever those connections. Do not let like myself, my evil dorky, stand in the way of being of service when some other person needs it. We in a we're currently in a culture that thrives about, performance and efficiency and what do you get out of it. And I feel that today more than ever, showing up authentically and connecting to another person, and sometimes throwing your priorities off the window because you get a call from someone that you were not expecting, and that you don't need to, you get the opportunity to be there for this person. And maybe you had really, really important things to do, but once you get the call to be present for someone else, share a word, share suggestions, share your opinion, that will already begin multiply. not in that same space, not in that with that same person maybe, but because you showed up there, things begin to align. And it's amazing how this alignment of the networks begins to happen organically, naturally, because by the time you realize it, I've already talked about abundance many times in the one single day. And I definitely didn't start my day thinking about it. And here we are. And abundance showed up at my doorstep, where it's not necessarily that the abundance is gonna translate exactly into what you are expecting in your mind that is gonna be, as maybe money, maybe projects, maybe opportunities, but it's gonna show up. You just need to be there and present. Thank you all. That I'm complete. I want to hear about Lindsay. Pass it on to you. Sorry, my text is all wrong. Linda, not Lindsay.
Oh, okay. Hi. And what you said, I have a strong faith in God, and having people around me that share that faith is a part of abundance. What I had written down to share before was that spending time with the people that I care about, and being able to be an encouragement and to be valuable to my family and my community. Those are things that I consider abundance. Also, on the selfish side, and I do have a selfish side, having disposable income, being able to travel, buy clothes, make home improvements. Those are things that I consider abundance as well, financial abundance. But listening to what Jose said, if I didn't get a client in the next month, I definitely wouldn't starve, and I will definitely have a roof over my head. I have the support of my family, my children, and they are concerned, making sure that I have everything that I need. So I have definitely experienced abundance, sharing with the people around me, the business community around me. I'm able to enjoy their company. This past week, I made artwork for a family reunion. And I have to say this, I did not do my FIDO and all of the sign-in information. So I'm going to say this now because I thought my name is Linda Cardoza Dooley. I'm dorky, obnoxious / evil. Those are both equal. I'm from right now a very cold, dark Plymouth, Massachusetts, and I'm a brand coach and an identity designer. This past week, I've been doing artwork for a family reunion for my cousins, the Cardoso family reunion, and looking for pricing and stuff like that. Being valuable to the people that are around me means a lot to me. And it has nothing to do with earning money, getting paid. It has a lot more to do with being valuable, being able to help people solve their problems. And that's why I'm in the business that I'm in, helping people to solve the problems that they come up against in building their lives, building their businesses. So I guess I overflow with abundance in that sense. So that's what I have to share. I hope it makes sense. And I am going to choose Felice.
Thank you, Linda. My name is Felice Della Gatta, and I am my video is dorky and then equal parts evil, obnoxious. I'm in Ibiza, Spain right now, and I am a brand identity designer. And actually, from Jose, last week we found out that I actually help pirates feel cozy into the chaos of getting shit done. And what does abundance mean to me? I have a couple of definitions, and I just made that up right now, so they'll not be very refined. They probably echo some of the things that you already said, but I would say that the first one is if I ask myself, what is the worst that can happen to me, and I'm saying generally life and work, then the answer is not that scary. So if the answer is not that scary, that's what I would say it's abundance to me. And my second definition is having the opportunity. And so I think when I say opportunities, it's a combination of time, money, health. So having the opportunity to say yes when there's an invitation to I don't know, like going places, doing things, talking to people, being a support, working, going on a lunch, like from the smallest things to the largest thing. What I'd say means to me is having the possibility of saying yes. And with that, I'm complete. And let's hear from Mauro.
Sorry, I turned off my camera because the internet was a little slow. Thank you, Felice. So actually, kind of, I think you said about like 50% of what I was gonna say. Uh, no, but I think I think very similar. I think when I think of abundance, I think about time. Having the abundance of time allows you, to have, more income, more time with the family, more time for yourself, more time. Um, that always, I think abundance brings abundance. Certainly, I think it's something, yeah, you have to work towards abundance. It's not something that is, for me, it's not something that is given. I think, the definition of abundance is highly, highly subjective to everybody's experience and culture. But I think it's an interesting word to reflect upon as to what it means for everybody, right? And I think it's a good way to model your objectives and goals around what abundance means to you. So I think it's a yeah, I think at least for me, I think when I think about that, it's all about the time that I can put into my work, the time that I can put into my family, the time, I can spend doing positive things in my life. And hopefully, that putting that out into the universe, that also kind of brings back the same from people, from your community, from work. And yes. Oh, and I did not do my drop it. Sorry. My name is Mauro Medina Serrey. I am a obnoxious dork, and I live in Ensenada, Mexico. And I am a brand designer and a creative director. I am complete. Let's go with I think Kevin. I think you haven't gotten right.
Yeah, thank you. I'm Kevin Mooney. I am obnoxious evil. I'm in Bend, Oregon, and I'm a brand architect. Abundance. The first thing that I think about is my recent trip to Montana, which I'm sure if you guys have been following me, you've seen all kinds of shit about it. But when you go to a place like that, you just feel things so much differently than you would in a big city. It's huge. There's animals everywhere. There's predators everywhere. The rivers are huge and wild. And the people live at a different pace than probably the rest of society. And it just kind of puts things into perspective for you. And so when I think of abundance, I think of freedom and space and time. And Montana was just the sort of storyline that I had in my head when I think about abundance. But that's what it means to me. It means slowing down, and it means reconnecting to people, nature, and just, you know, what we're doing on this big giant spinning ball flying through outer space. Okay, that's all I have to say. Who's left? Lorraine, is that the only one? Do we jump into that? Go ahead.
So what's the ask? I'm new here, everyone.
No, hold on. Bruno is still to go. We have Bruno and then you, Lorraine, and
I'm sorry,
the
Bruno.
prompt. Yeah, sorry. I'm here to make sure no one's left behind. No
Thank you,
obnoxious,
Jose.
flaky person is left behind. Sorry, Lorraine, you're going next after Bruno, and here's the prompt right here.
So yeah, I'm Bruno Diaz, flaky obnoxious. I am based in Ibiza in Spain. What do I do? Designer, creative direction, many other things. Yeah, that's the main labels. The abundance, you know, it's something that it's a concept that really changed in the last 4 years mainly. And I used to think about that, you know, word as, you know, being plentiful, no? And it really used to be connected with things that I have, places that I can go, people that I can meet, you know, like the experience as in regards to, you know, this 3D terrestrial experience. The last couple of years, you know, I really tapped onto some moments where, you know, life took me to, you know, to places within, and I really went to, you know, like to sit with myself and reflect upon moments that were very difficult to navigate. And surprisingly, by curating, you know, that presence with what was going on and putting time. And I think, you know, that's a very strong thing, because without time, you know, without privilege, you know, there's no such thing, you know, to put time into practices that then, you know, it allows you to tap into a different kind of aliveness and vitality. So, and that's, I think, that one of the main things there. It's composed by these three things, but I would say that without that sense of good health and vitality, I guess the other ones don't come across so clearly. And through that sense of vitality and clarity, I went really into this spiral into, you know, trying to find out what I am here for, you know, like as a human being, as a father, as a friend, as a you know, a son, as a professional. So, you know, I'm talking about purpose, no? In that mission, you know, that calling. So yeah, it's a bit of a triad between vitality, purpose, and, you know, what we do with that purpose is what kind of service, what kind of care and help and support and assistance you can provide to others, regardless of, you know, the game that you're playing, if it's professional, if it's a family game, if it's, you know, friendship. But for me, it's this, it kind of comes as a combination of these three different things, and really translated from being this thing that it's, you know, this concept that translates to things and something that I can see and I can touch and I can travel and I can experience, as, you know, as something that is experienced as well as, you know, and it's a vibration, it's a feeling that it's, you know, it was felt at the most visceral level without having, you know, those material things, you know, money and, you know, the biggest clients, the biggest jobs, things that I've had before that, you know, they really made me felt, you know, abundant, you know, and not scarce, you know, because I had all these options. And there I was, you know, the last stage of my life without having a lot of those things, you know, tapping into this vibration that everything is fucking amazing and it's all right, regardless, you know, of the money that I have in my account, regardless of, you know, the projects that I'm working, regardless if sometimes, you know, I thought that I've answered, you know, in a way that wasn't the most appropriate to my children, but just being present and aware with all of those little nuances that otherwise in the past they would get missed. I feel like I'm present, you know, and I'm curating, you know, that path of honesty with myself, and everything evolves from there. You know, I think I'm a better father, you know, a better professional, a better, you know, everything. At least I have that perception. But you know, like Maro said, time. It's such a, it's, you know, I'm talking from a privileged kind of place, you know, to having had the opportunity to have that time to sit down with me and, you know, really decondition some of, and not intentionally, I wasn't looking for any kind of, you know, deconditioning myself, but really going deep and kind of, you know, dispel some of those things through my experience, the past experience. So yeah, it comes down to the balance between these three things, you know, vitality and purpose and service, you know, and sometimes some are more stronger, but you know, the kind of service that I'm able to provide when it's aligned with that purpose and it comes from a place that I, you know, health-wise, I feel like, you know, solid. There's a vibration that is felt and it's always there, you know, but sometimes it gets cloudy to touch that vibration when there's no enough time to curate these things. So yeah, I guess this will change again, you know, throughout life, but this is where I'm navigating these days. So yeah, thank you very much, guys. I'm done.
Thank you, Bruno. Lorraine, so the format is, and I went first, it's your name, your FIDO, location, and what you do. You don't have to do your FIDO if you don't remember it, but I think it's dorky, flaky, or something like that. And then what does abundance mean to you? And then I'll introduce you.
Cool. Hi, everyone. I'm Lorraine Molina. Yes, Jose would probably know what my FIDO is, but I do know that my human design is manifestor generator. I am in Yucca Valley, California, which is about 2 hours east from Los Angeles. How would I describe myself? I'm just going to say interdisciplinary creative. I am a designer by trade, user experience, also print design and photography. I curate, I publish books, artist books, and I'm designing my house, well, with the help of other designers. Abundance, what does that mean to me? It just is awareness of all that is around me, moment to moment to moment. The abundance of being able to breathe clear air, the sun is shining, there's green all around, I could see, I could hear, I could think, I have arms and legs and hands, I have food, I have water, I have shelter, like just the most simple, most fundamental things are where abundance is always. And with that abundance comes a tremendous amount of gratitude. Always remind yourself moment to moment, like all that is always around you, and have deep, deep gratitude for all that is. And I do agree with you, Kevin, about Montana. That is extraordinary, gorgeous place. If I could, I'd live there too. And I'm complete.
Thank you. So in way of introduction, you've already been introduced, but I will redo it. And I'll do it this way. You just mentioned that you do curating, artist books, design, UX, UI. Mauro, who presented last week, started with just going straight into a project, which made it easy. I would love you to show a project that you feel kind of represents who you are. Like, you know, when in cooking competitions, they say, what dish would represent you? Can you show us that? And I know that you're many things, but a project that you feel that does that, and we're all here on stage, so you can share your screen from wherever you want to share it. And then the three things that I'm interested in for today is like, who are you relative to your projects, and who you are not. It doesn't have to obviously define you, but secondly, your journey, like from where you started to where you are now as a creative person, and the third part. So showing us a project that you think represents you, or projects, your journey, and then the third part is this idea that you are excited about financial literacy for creatives, your involvement in investment communities, and what's your message to this community here, to this core circle about how we can basically create more in terms of financial and 3D, as someone mentioned, resources, by using the mindsets that you have learned over these last years, and all the work that you're doing, and plug your community and what they're doing. And also, that's it, those three things. One, the project that defines you, your journey, and let's talk about money. And I'm complete, and I'm here to support you throughout the whole thing. So
Sure. I'm just going to start with my journey. That might be easier to give you context of who I am. I have always been a creative since I was a kid. I grew up in a creative family. My practice formally, what I studied was photography. But in that space as a young student, I was very, very naive, and I didn't have a full understanding of what art meant or creativity meant. I only knew photography. So once I got to Art Center, which is where I met Jose, my mind exploded, and I got introduced to design, and I so desperately wanted to be a designer. And that's really started the trajectory of my path, where design was always this constant linear line that I've been connected to since that time. I was young, in my early 20s, until present time, and it's always evolved. And from that line, I've branched out into other disciplines. And this is what I mean being interdisciplinary, is that I've been able to move in and out of other disciplines pretty seamlessly, but that core fundamental connection to design has always been the seedling, so to speak. So early in my career, I was photographing for a lot of magazines. This was during, the dot-com boom of New York. I was also working in web, very early web. Back then, they would call us web designers. However, during that whole period of design shifting with the crash and 9/11, which was horrible, I don't know if anybody survived that in terms of as a creative, but that also allowed me an open space to say, what else can I do? Where does, my creativity, my love for art and design live? And so the opportunity of curating came in, and that led me down probably to my most creative period in my life, was when I had a gallery. I represented artists from all over the world, mostly emerging artists, and all working in different media and centering around conceptual art. That really, really opened up my mind to thinking critically about art, philosophy, Also history, art history. And again, how does this relate to how we creative output? So it affected that. So that education really affected, or I should say experience really affected my entire creative practice, which eventually from the gallery, it branched out into doing limited edition artist books and prints. But today I'm still a designer. I'm still in UX. I'm currently head of design and user experience at Hamza, which is a tech startup in Silicon Valley. And we are in Web3. So Web3 is the latest iteration of the internet. I'm working in blockchain, tokenizing assets, doing crypto wallets, etc., which is a lot of fun. And Jose did mention that what I've been doing lately, as of late, is really entering the space of financial literacy. Just as a creative, maybe you guys have experienced this too, and when you have your own business, money fluctuates like this. Sometimes you have highs and lows, etc. And I was also raised in an atmosphere and a family life, I should say, that we were always in struggle. My parents were totally financially illiterate, and they didn't know how to understand money. They thought you had to work really hard. So it was a mentality of lack and labor. So I realized early in my career, like, oh my God, I'm perpetuating the cycle of my family. I'm like up and down with money, not understanding how it works, and then working really, really hard. So I broke out of that and went on a journey to financial abundance. So I'm in that space now. I've learned how to build a really solid stock portfolio. I'm learning DeFi, how to invest in DeFi, and I'm building, wow, like I built a 6-figure portfolio in a very short amount of time just through stocks. But now I'm venturing out in other modalities of investing, and I want to turn around and share my experience with other creatives, because I've seen artists quite a bit in my career that always seem to be struggling. They don't have a lot of money, but they're incredibly brilliant and incredibly educated, but they're broke. So that'll be another trajectory of my path. So what I'm going to do is share, Jose, you're going to need to allow me to share my screen. And I'll just walk through, maybe I'll walk through one UX project and then one of the book projects that I've done. So to just give you a quick background, the artist books that I create are definitely things that are more about creating one-of-a-kind collectible objects. Let's see, can you guys see my screen? I probably have.
Yes, it has a beautiful mountain.
With lots of screenshots. I'm going to start with the art stuff. So my art endeavor is called Ellen Projects. It was a spin-off of the gallery that I had for 5 years, which was called Bank. So once I closed Bank, I didn't want to continue on that commercial end of art. I just wanted to make work that I believed in and work with artists that I believed in. So one of the books that I created was with a mid-career artist named Dorit Sippies. So these books are really about conversations with artists, what they're interested in, what they're working on, ideas, philosophies. So they start with conversations and they're very collaborative, lots of studio visits. And from these conversations, an idea of a publication is born. And so oftentimes they don't follow I should say, the trajectory of a book that's mass produced and distributed. I'll only make maybe 100 books or 50 books. There's one book I'm working on right now. I'll only have an edition of one. So they're meant to be collected. They're more like artworks or like a object, like a sculptural object, I should say, but in the form of print. Each book has a piece of artwork associated with it. So for an example, this artist, she made these unique drawings, one of a kind. And luckily, these books are really created by incredible teams of people. So I work with editors, I work with other designers. I also work with amazing printers in Pasadena who still do lithography, but now they're moving into digital printing. Really great book binders. So it's a team, and I manage that creatively. I manage that as a producer. So I'm like the end-to-end person. Luckily, Dorit's book was acquired by a couple of museums. This one was acquired by gosh, who was this collected by, Jose? I think you knew. You had put it in the bio. I completely forgot.
Yeah, it was the Getty and yeah. Here, I'll look it up. It's on my chat.
I don't know why I don't have it in here, which is not good. But so all of the books that I have published have been acquired by museums. So for an example, the book we just looked at was collected by the Walker Art Center in Indianapolis. Salomon Huerta's book was collected by the Metropolitan Museum of Art's Thomas J. Watson Library. It was Corey Newkirk's book. That one was acquired by the Orange County Museum of Art, and also I think the
Can you
Getty.
show that one and talk a little bit about the process that you went with them, because it was before AI, but you really sat down and recorded the conversations, and then you took artifacts from the artist, and you actually put real artifacts. So the person who buys the book is not only getting the book, they're also getting real pieces from the artist.
Yeah, this Corey Newkirk's book, again, this is a collaborative project. You can see how this book has a lot of ephemera. And it's stuffed inside the book. So when you open the book, you see pieces of material that the artist used as references, process, found objects, tests. So all of the material artifacts that you find in an artist studio, and most artist studios, they're a mess. There's like shit everywhere and experimentation. So I was interested in that type of materiality. I was interested in what we do not see. We don't get to see process in an artist's work. We usually see the final product in a gallery or in a museum, but all the thinking and all the failures and all that struggle and experimentation was what I wanted to show the world. I wanted that. I wanted to bring that forth. So these books had, I wish I could click on these. I guess the site is so old. I wish I can enlarge these, but you can see between the pages.
There's bigger shots in your other site, Lorraine, and the Lorraine and Molina. You can actually click on you can actually see the bigger pictures of that book.
Oh, much better. So you can see that there's all of these incredible, just collected pieces of objecthood is what it is. So each
Can I answer a question? I'm sorry to interrupt.
Sure.
How has your art pursuits affected your, like, because obviously selling a book to a museum or getting recognized for publishing an artist and doing this very intimate kind of work is very satisfying, but you have to pay the bills, etc. How has it affected your other work or your opportunities?
Oh, yeah. So that's a really good question. I can share. Everything informs each other, right? Nothing is separate. Everything's interconnected. So all your creative output, as you know, affects other creative outputs or other relationships with collaborators. So to me, there really is no separation. And I present that forward as a designer. I no longer hide it. I used to hide it in order to get work, especially in UX. They only want to see UX. Like, show me everything. I don't care about whatever else you do. So I kind of had to hide the fact that I'm this bigger creative output. I'm this bigger energetic, being that needs to that is multifaceted. So the current job that I'm at now, I presented myself as that. I said I am a designer. But I also do art, and this is my UX portfolio. So my UX portfolio, I have my case studies, but I have a separate section for personal projects. So all my UX work has very, very tight project thinking, et cetera, et cetera. This is a before and after design. This is a before screenshots of a crypto wallet, and these are like the new designs of the crypto wallet. But my point is, the last interview I had, the CEO of the company says, Lorraine, out of hundreds of people that applied for the job, I chose you. And the reason why is because you're an artist, and I too am an artist. I'm a filmmaker. So here are two people that were vibrating at the same frequency that could see each other and acknowledge each other. And so I was truly seen as the creative that I am. And then of course I got hired because of that. So I got hired for my truth, in other words, for who I actually am. And that's when I realized, like, hey, wave your freak flag, be proud of who you are as a creative and show it. Don't be afraid, and people will see it. People will truly see, who you are. Did I answer the question right?
Yes, that's beautiful, and I hate to like, what do you call it when you lead the witness? But I do want, because this is something that I'm really excited or passionate about. What you say is elements that uh, my point of view is that your work is very like typographically and image based, very sophisticated and very like elegant. I call it wispy, maybe. You, Mauro, share that actually. What is it? Like, if you were to tell a message a las comunidades aquí en Latinoamérica, what's the most important thing about doing great work? What would it be?
What's the most important thing of doing great work?
Yeah, what's the element? What do you look for as a creator? Let's say you're a design director, which I think you are now at Hamza. What would you look for in a designer?
Ooh, like really, really core fundamental skill sets, like solid foundation, number one, but then thinking, like really, really good thinking, problem solving through design. So again, I think that's the challenge for designers, is that we are hired to problem solve. You may have a large set of requirements coming from your team or a client, and it's your job to answer these challenges or questions through design, through the language of design. So that means visuality, that means perspective, that means in the case of UX, it has to be a really, really good, intuitive, easy to use product. So that kind of thinking, that's our job. So what I mean by fundamentals is designers.
Typography is what I was thinking about.
Yeah, exactly. Really good typography, very good layout, understanding color, hierarchy, all those things, which I think has been lost personally, because nowadays they teach UX as a Master of Science or a Bachelor of Science. It's no longer a Bachelor of Arts. So you don't get these really rigorous, fundamental education of typography, let's say, and layout, and your typical design. all your typical the rigor of design, like it's lost. So when I see designers that do have that strong foundation, it's like, yay, good, you have that. Then from there we can build on top of that. But please, come first with a strong design sense. Anything else I could add or?
No, that's really beautiful. And then for the sake of time and compact. So first of all, amazing work. I think that a good palette cleanser here is what I'm seeing or what we are seeing collectively. The comment from Felice is like he's now feeling inadequate. Felice, it's not a competition, first of all. I believe that every designer has a unique gift in terms of how they actually work and being open to it and putting everybody in the arena and letting them do their work the way they do it and then seeing how to improve it together collectively is part of the process. How did you get interested in finance and how, this is like a left turn, a sharp left turn to get us to land here on time. How did you get interested in finances and in money and give us some investing tips? Like I want to, we've seen the pretty work, we understand the role, but I'll say it this way, and this is the framework for the house of this next part of the conversation. I've seen you live the FIRE lifestyle, take all the money that you make from your job, invest it, learn how to understand stocks, analyze stocks, sentiment analysis, feel like super joyful and happy as the stock market is going down and going like, "Ooh, I'm gonna buy." And as you very lovingly like to call it, you've joined a few investment and real estate cults online. How can our community get that enthusiasm and that fire about money that you have gained? How did you get there? That's the first question. And then tell us about that space and what you're learning and who should we invite from that community to come speak to us here on Core Circle Live?
Sure. Like I said earlier, I was raised in a family where we struggled. And so that's where my money mindset started. I was educated as you have to work hard and struggle just to make ends meet. So I didn't know anything else. And then in school, they don't teach you about money. There's no literacy, financial literacy at all. And so I was hungry for it late in life. I started late in life. And I was so inspired by the FIRE movement. Yes, you guys might know it stands for Financial Independence, Retire Early. And it was started by the millennial generation. And so they're retiring in their 30s. They were living like monks, taking all the money that they've made and investing it. And they were investing smartly. And yeah, they were making ridiculous amounts of money in very short amounts of time. And they were tapping out of the system that my generation was born and raised in, which means go to college, get a degree, find a job, and retire at 65. Oh, and then in between, you get maybe a week off or 2 weeks off a year. It's a bullshit narrative. I hated it. And so they threw that out the window and said, fuck it, we're creating our own path of how we live and exist. So that's what started it. And Jose makes fun of me a lot. He always says, you live like a monk, your house looks like a monastery. And I said, that's deliberate. And it's because I don't spend my money on shit, on bullshit. I invest it. And it's been really, really fun. So I sought to learn it. So I joined a community. I joined an education platform, and it's led by most of the coaches are women. They're also our age group, and they too started late, but learned how to invest in the stock market as value investors. So this means you buy low and you sell high, and you invest in stocks that are blue chip, like Apple, Amazon, Nvidia, like all these very, very solid companies. And it works. So I learned how to analyze, how to do technical analysis on stock charts, how to sell how to buy and how to sell. So that's been a godsend. And I love the community. What I recommend for everyone, as you know, communities are amazing. You learn so much from coaches that are brilliant, that are where you want to be, and you're surrounded by other students with the same mindset that you have of like making your first million plus. And not only that, there's a core education class, like a core course that you have to follow. So it's extremely beneficial. Don't do this alone. I would recommend joining some group, some community, some group, because it's extremely helpful. Just following YouTube videos, honestly, is not enough. And from there, though, I've joined other communities that are branched off into real estate investing, the DeFi space, investing in the crypto. That whole world of decentralized finance is a whole nother world of investing. So I'm kind of moving deeper and deeper into it. But the goal is financial freedom. It's like, what do you want to do with your time on this planet? Do we want to work to death? Do you want to work for other people forever? No, your time is the most valuable. You want to free up your time and not be dependent on spending your waking hours working to make a living. You want the other way around. You want your money to be working for you. So, and that will allow you to live whatever life you've ever wanted if you didn't have to work every day, right? So, I hope that answers the question. I know we were short on time, but that could be a whole nother.
That does, and here's how we're gonna land that, because thank you for sharing that. One of the things that I know people sometimes say about when they go to Investiva or they go to the classes, because it's using templates and business models that are pretty proven, and they look scammy or like suspect, right? You've been part of it for many years and invested a lot of money into it and gotten a lot out of it, where there are people within our community who joined also and they hate it. So for every community, there is a tone, right? You can join, right? Whether it's design, in this case, where we are, or finance. The reason why I not only invited you, one is because I think as a designer, your story is pretty amazing. But just hearing you and watching you go through this transition into investing and DeFi and real estate, and then seeing all the work in the My Core coaching, with Marce, with Bruno, with Felice, with Federico, with Linda, where for everybody across the board, one of the fears and desires is sustainability, but not with the hard work and the like blunt force trauma that it takes to do it. I had a call last night with someone with Todd Mendeloff, prepping for him to speak in a few weeks after maybe 3 weeks after some of the Core Circle members speak here. And he's like, look, being an agency work is like, it's a grind, meaning like it's a full contact sport. So that's a reality of it, right? And for me wanting to not be doing agency work in my 60s, when we hit quote unquote retirement age, was one of the goals for starting the school, which became the future and the whole journey. But here I am, in my 50s, and I'm like, fuck, I've always thought of it like un negro de campo, to quote the 3rd chapter of my book. I've always thought of it like from a Latin American point of view, that you have to work really hard, that you have to it's your talent, it's your hard work that's going to get you money. And then seeing you just say like, no, I'm just going to analyze some stock and, invest in this company and invest in that company and build a portfolio. I'm like, wow, that's a whole different point of view than labor for money or the talent for money. And, even here, the last thing I'll say about this is, when someone like Felice looks at your work and then compare yourselves, we ascribe our value to talent or to our design abilities or to our output. And that I'm guilty of that too. But at the end, your journey, and we're not even touching spirituality and the needs that the personal growth that's parallel to the money mindset, it's something that has inspired me and that I hope inspires other people who are watching this. So that's my, it's not a question, it's like a framing. So thank you for sharing that. What is your, I want to open it up for questions. So I'll stop there and then let people ask questions, and that'll be the last part of today. Please ask questions. I'll sip it.
I
Go
have a
ahead,
question.
Felice.
Oh, Feli, go ahead. Sorry.
Go, Marcy, you're already unmuted.
All right. This is just because I don't pay attention to the little symbols on the screen. Lorraine, that's first of all, let me say what it's been. Well, it's already been said throughout all this. Is like your work is amazing. Uh,
Yeah.
it's truly beautiful to see the care and precision that you put in everything that you've done, and how that mindset has moved into your finances, and how your finance point of view. So I was very curious, because you were saying is like my house is very zen. I have like a monastery. Like I invest in, I put that money towards investing. So like, what has been one thing that, like, if you can remember, that triggered is like, this is the moment, this is the where you realize that you were putting the chips in the right bucket of investing, instead of maybe buying a piece of art or buying more furniture.
Uh, Great question. It started with mindset, where I changed the narrative in my head about money. I used to be afraid of money. It used to give me anxiety. I used to not be able to sleep at night sometimes because I knew I had debt. And then once I learned everything, after I cleared all that negative energy about money and started to manifest and bring in the energy of abundance and havingness, I can have this, and really starting to live like I am already the millionaire I want to be. And then, so it started here. And that's when it first clicked. I'm like, now I'm embodying it. Now I feel it. And now I know it. So when I started to learn how to do it, it came really easy. And then seeing the results. And I couldn't believe like my money was making money. Like it just kept going boom, boom, boom. I'm like, I've never made so much money so fast. I'm like, what is this? Is this real? I was shocked. And this is where community makes a difference. I'm like sharing it with my community, sharing it with my coaches, and they're like, bravo, you did it. It's exactly how it works. And this is how you build financial abundance. This is how you do it. It's not gate kept. It shouldn't be gate kept. This should be for everyone. Everyone should learn how to do this, which is something I totally believe in too. So once it was the mindset, and then when I saw the portfolio growing, I'm like, oh my God, this is it. This is my path. I'm like, screw this idea of American materialism, credit card debt. I need the fancy car. I need the best shoes. Fuck it. It's all bullshit. It's a bullshit narrative. Invest in yourself. Put that money towards you and the way you want your life to look like once you've building that incredible financial power. It's a powerful thing because it's not just about survival. It's also about your freedom. And the last thing, and this is my path, is I want to turn around and be a philanthropist. I would love to make millions of dollars so that I can turn around and give it away to help all the people that I believe in, all the programs I believe in. There's so many people doing incredible work, and there's not enough support. If I had that power to turn it back and give, that would be like the ultimate, like, wow, my purpose as a human is now fulfilled.
Wow, that's so awesome, Lorraine. Thank you. May I have a follow-up, guys? I have a question. So you talk about debt, right? And I'm sure that everyone that has put a step, like one foot inside the US, they suddenly have debt. So what was what was your debt status? Not the number, right? But it's like, what was that stat? Were you in debt when you started investing, or did you first clear up your debt so it's like a little bit of a freer runway?
I was 40K in debt. Business taxes. Business taxes. I will be honest, because that's another thing. People aren't honest about money, and I would be really honest about money. And I was so focused that it kind of happened together where I increased my value as a designer and my rate. And with that, I was able to focus on managing money better. Got out of debt, did it very quickly because, again, I lived like a monk and I raised my rate and I got out of debt and I started to hyper focus. And the portfolio acceleration happened with the education. So that then it just boom. If I did it slowly, like, oh, I'm going to put my money in my bank account, I would never been able to grow money. You don't grow money leaving it in a bank account. That's the worst place. So yes, you have to be a little aggressive with your investing, and some parts of your portfolio can be more modest, like safer, like an IRA is safe. So once I started seeing it work, that's like I'm in, I'm sold, and now it just keeps compounding and compounding. So I'm not afraid when things go down, like when the market crashes. I'm like, yay! Because that's when those are buying opportunities. That's when you go in and you buy and you buy and you buy. Eventually it goes back up, and that's when you make an exit and you make your profits and you sell. So it's a win-win. When things are high, you're happy, and when things are low, you're happy.
Good. Thank you. Thank you so much for that.
Sure. Anyone else?
Rain. Yes, if I may. Um, Great work, first of all. Such sophisticated layout and typography. I was just drooling. And also to you for being a minimalist and financially successful, because I live out of a 40 liters backpack, but I'm still broke.
Oh no.
So my question to you is, um, I did read about FIRE before, the FIRE movement before, and you also hear a lot of generic like financial advice going around, like invest in the S&P 500. I don't know if that's part of your FIRE plan at all. But my question is, if you get picky about the stocks you want to invest in, let's say you mentioned investing in blue chip company, but let's say I have more qualms about investing in Amazon or investing in Meta, for example. How much more difficult would I make it for myself to, yeah, have the kind of results that you are kind of talking about? And is that even possible to do while being picky about your investments?
That's a really great question because it brings up ethics. And that's something we all talk about. Like, how can you invest in, let's say, oil or companies that produce weapons or defense? We talk about that often. I do have it's all very personal. I won't invest in oil, and I struggle with investing in companies that deal with defense. I don't invest in tobacco, but this is just me and personally. So when you look at the bigger corporate landscape, let's say like your Apple and your Amazon, everybody, all of them have dirty practices one way or another. All of them do. But I have a line where it's like when it's how should I say, if it's too sensitive for me personally, I say no. If it's like, yeah, Amazon's not great with their ethics and their practices, it's not, it's like my own personal meter. But when I invest in companies, I always say to myself, I'm going to make money off of you because you are making money off of me. But what I'm going to do with my money is going to better humanity. I'm going to use my money to help others and not just to help myself. So it's almost as if though I am not a victim, I'm going to be empowered and I'm going to take control of what my money can potentially do. So it's a mindset and it's your own philosophy. It's what we do with our money. I'm not going to go out and buy a Lamborghini. No, I'm going to take care of myself and my family first, and then I'm going to turn around and give it to others. So again, create your own personal philosophy, your own mantra, your own path, because they're all individual to you.
Your own investment thesis, and that really, Felicia, that's also requires you to. So when you use financial instruments like you're on a platform and they say, hey, if you buy into the S&P 500 or into the a fund, an index fund, which is what they call it, it's a series of stocks. You can't take out the bad company or the companies that you don't feel ethically aligned with. What Lorraine's talking about is actually building your own portfolio so you can analyze and make the decision individually. So that's I think where your concern is in terms of investment strategy. My question to everybody, and just for the sake of time, we're going to go into our upload, is would you be interested in the chat here, the comment yes or no, and what you would like to know, or have Lorraine back, have any members of her community, the Investiba and the other associated cults, communities in investing that she belongs to. I also have I invited my coach, Ron, to come, and maybe Ron and Lorraine, we can do a special session on a money mindset and on investing in the future, in another one. So yeah, please, if you're still here, the circle is here. Please put yes or no if you would like that, and what would you like to hear about. And then to close this, Lorraine, the ritual, the circle, the way we close the circle is that we have an upload, and the upload is your name, your FIDO, and what did you get that helps out for your week, or in general, what did you get out of value? It's an opportunity to kind of synthesize. So I'm going to start in modeling it, and first of all, and also say thank you for being here. Thank you everybody who has questions. My name is José Caballer, José Caballer, and I am obnoxious flaky. Based on today, what would you take away for your week? Marce asked a very interesting question, about debt and about, and you answered it, you cleared it before you started investing. But I think there's also just, small amounts you can start practicing and investing no matter what. Don't buy coffee for a month and invest the $4, they got a cost, or 10 nowadays. But what I walked away with today, let me tune in here. Today's conversation gave me grounding. I'm going to use the H word, hope, and hope in the sense of to do things that are different than what we learn from our parents, or that who our parents are, or our culture, etc. Always takes bravery. So I think the biggest thing for me is witnessing you and taking the courage to really do that and to live an authentic life. And I did say before, at the beginning, before you arrived, that you're one of the people who has maintained and even who has helped me continue my passion, or it's my mission, because it goes beyond a passion, to build community and to be who I am inside a community, and warts and all, just like do what we're doing here. And for that, I'm very grateful, but more so today than inspired to actually bring this conversation into our community. Because here's a secret: as a manifesting generator also, but as an obnoxious flaky, and as my kind of like overall human design and gene keys and all the other woo and non-woo things. I actually act on excitement, and I create directionality based on like that, like what excites and moves. I think Bruno calls it vitality, and when you feel that, yeah, that sense of that's exciting. So I'm getting that from today in the directionality of, yeah, let's actually not only for myself personally, first and foremost, to look at building wealth more broadly, not just from my hard work and labor. Because I'm tired of like doing projects. Projects they're fun, and aligning them to who you are and how we're doing projects here in the community is actually evolving into a really special way. But I still have a hard time being grounded and not being, no matter what, like I said at the beginning in our drop-in, getting out of the emergency mode that your mind is on from childhood, and being here in Latin America has helped me a lot contrast that and see it, and just really see how much of who I have been, or how I have created, to come from the wound versus coming from zero, from just presence. So that's what I got out of today. Thank you for being here, Lorraine. And I'm gonna pick Linda.
Thank you. I have really appreciated listening to you today. Listening to you today, Lorraine. I think I live more in a state of lack and thinking that I have to work hard, struggle to make a living, struggle to pay the bills. And listening to you, I wish I was 20 years younger. But that does not stop me from thinking that I'm definitely going to look into all of the things that you shared. I turned 67 a couple of weeks ago, and I will look into all of it for myself, but also sharing it with my children who are in their mid-20s, mid to late 20s. I appreciate everything that you've said. Yeah, I'm excited about learning how to invest, and I'm easily able to take some of the funds that I could spend on frivolous things and put them aside to start an investment portfolio of my own.
Awesome. It's never too late.
Well, that's what I say. I mean, I'm going back to school in January, so it's never too late. So
100%.
thank you so much. And I appreciate listening to everybody's input here today. And with that, I am complete, and I have to go pick up my son. Okay, thank you. Oh, and I will choose, let's see, who will I choose today? Kevin.
Thanks, Linda. I am Kevin Mooney. I am obnoxious evil. The takeaway today, I really, just to touch on the work part of it, I really thought it was amazing how you collaborated in showing the process in those books, but you did it in a very unique way. And you brought something real intangible and attached it to that book. That is super, super cool. I was thinking about all the brand strategy guides that I've done, all the brand books and guidelines and all that shit that I've done, and how it would have been so much cooler to hand them something that had real pieces of magazines that I had clipped out, or whatever it is that I've used for inspiration, the tree across the street from me that I look at grab a leaf and stick it in that book. I thought that was really cool and unique, and just wanted to say I appreciated that. The other takeaway is obviously the financial independence. And, you know, quite a few years ago, I started down this path of self-discovery and learning who I am and how I show up in the world, who others are, and how I can connect with them, as opposed to just maybe running down a linear path. And how am I tying this to investing? I guess I'm saying that I had a mindset shift back then from a financial standpoint, but I did nothing with it. And I think that pisses me off. I just sat on it and I thought, well, the only way I'm going to be able to do any of that is if I make some money. What do I possess that makes money? Well, it's creativity, and there's this drive, and I'm good at talking to people. I'm good at drawing things out of people. So just do all this work and you'll make a bunch of money, and then you can go back to the investing portion of it. And that's just ass backwards and fucking stupid. And the takeaway is like, yeah, take $500 that you were going to throw into Meta to promote some stupid post that you did on there, and start over here doing this. So I just want to thank you for a gentle reminder that you can do this. You just might have to learn the tools, but whatever. I spent my life learning tools, all the Adobe suites and all these freaking plugins and that we use, all this shit. Just go learn that and turn that into that financial freedom, because that's the thing that we all collectively butt up against here. Is we do what we do because we love it, hands down, no questions asked. But it doesn't make us any money, and it only causes headaches and heartaches. So let's invert that. Make your money somewhere else, and then I can come back and I can do brand strategy for some fucking client that whatever needs it. And it's just the skill that I have that I'm able to contribute to the thing that they're doing. So that's my takeaway. And that means that I probably just need to get off social media and YouTube and all these platforms and just bury my head in the investment land. So anyways, I appreciate it. I would love to figure out how to just talk with you more sometime in the near future. That'd be fantastic. And that's all I have to say. Bruno, you know, I forgot you last time, so I have to call on you again.
Thank you, Kevin. I'm Bruno, Flaky Obnoxious. What I got out of today, I really enjoyed the presentation, Lorraine. Like it feels like, having look at those case studies and then that personal work, it's almost as if we're diving into left brain and right brain there, like two different ways of telling stories, one that it's most kind of tap into the abstract way, not really following any rules, but with with the intent of telling a story that is true to each artist. And then jumping onto the case studies in the corporate world, and very organized, very tight work. That's beautiful, like truly amazing. And I guess you get a lot of joy from maybe getting those two, feeding yourself from those two different sides, but always telling stories. I had a few questions regarding, to the investment side of things, but I guess, maybe you'll come back, to talk to us again. I think something that I was really, that I gained a lot from today is listening everyone's reflections on as Mauro said, it's a very subjective concept, abundance for everyone. But I've gained a lot from those reflections, regardless, what's present in my own life. I gain a lot of from those, like tapping to a more of the geometry that everyone sees around that concept. And without, you mentioned something very important, as a result of tapping into that vibe of abundance comes this natural sense of gratitude of what just is, regardless, if it's with money or without money. It's really behind those little things in trivial moments in life that sometimes they're not attached to any of kind of, material things. It's just like just being alive and just breathing, having the opportunity to breathe every moment, gotta feel gratitude and feel abundant for that. And for me, that's the main takeaway, not forgetting that the rest will follow if you don't lose sight of those things. So thank you very much for reminding us of all of that. Thank you. And I will pick Mauro.
Hello. I'm Mauro. I'm a obnoxious dork. Lorraine, thank you for sharing your work. It's really refreshing to see this type of work. It's this type of stuff that I used to love, like looking at when I was in school and when I was early in my career. And it's so nice to actually see somebody still kind of working in this field and in this medium and really doing some amazing work. Definitely, it's a big inspiration. And what I got out of the code today is that all of us creatives suck at handling money, and we're all probably in debt. I think it's really amazing to see a creative that knows how to handle money and how to kind of get out of that place. I think that most of us have either been in or are in, and it's really interesting to kind of hear your story and hear some of the questions that don't usually get answered. So thank you for that. I'd love to actually be part of the next special session. And so thank you very much. So I'm gonna call on who hasn't gone. Who's missing? Marcy, I think you went, right?
Nope, my team.
Marcy.
So I don't repeat everything because it's like ditto to what everyone said about your work, Lorraine. It's beautiful. I got out today really interesting. I feel like when you answer the question about the debt and you shared your situation, your original starting point, that really got me to think how much fear still is around money in my mind. Like I haven't, and we started talking about the abundance, right? And the abundance of projects and connections and people. And listening to myself and processing what I was feeling, I realized that money, even though I see abundance in everything else, I don't see the abundance in money. I still feel the fear of the debt. I still feel the fear of engaging with money in the same way that you were talking about and seeing, like I get the happiness when it goes up, but it's for me, there's still a barrier for seeing the happiness when it goes down, in the sense that there's a bigger picture and there's a bigger opportunity. And I don't have an answer yet, but definitely what I am taking is this is something I need to work. This is where this next step is going to happen, by being around people that have this mentality and can offer. Sometimes it's just a conversation or a little tip or sharing their story, just to hear that it's like, someone else was in the same shitty place that you are today. And out of the 25 different steps that they took, this was one of them. and maybe that's one of them that you can put in practice today. So I'm taking that to reflect and try to discover what is that first step that I can put in practice next week. So thank you for sharing everything, Lorraine, and I'm gonna pick my friend Felice de la Gata.
Thank you, Marce. Well, everybody said everything, but I'm gonna have to repeat that I leave inspired. I leave this call inspired by the amazing work that I looked at today, and by thank you for like the sharing so transparently and honestly the story of yes, your financial success, but also breaking free from these limiting beliefs that we inherit, generation by generation, and we don't even realize that we have. I leave this call. What I get out is, well, I will spend some time fantasizing about how I will spend my millions once I get there, and I will read more about FIRE, and I hope there will be opportunity to learn more from you directly. And maybe one thing that something I noticed during the call is this kind of resistance that I have to the idea of making money through investment. There is some resistance in my mind that it's connected to the limiting beliefs that you had to, yourself crush before you could allow yourself to kind of think like, you deserve to be financially successful and not to have to stress about money. So I think I will be exploring that. Where is that coming from for myself? And it's very interesting. So and it's something that you just have buried down because you're busy day to day, and as long as you sacrifice yourself and put in the hard work, it's questions that it's uncomfortable questions that you can afford not to really explore.
Yeah.
But this really came up for me during this call, and it's probably an important revelation for me and something that I will be thinking about in the coming days. So that's what I walk away with today. Thank you. And with that, I'm complete.
Last but not least, Lorraine, your upload.
Thank you guys for making this a really cool reciprocating experience. Jose asked me to share with you guys today my creative path, and he wanted me to stick in my new financial path, which I feel like relates to the creativity as well. Nothing's disconnected. So I didn't know that what I had to share would help others. But I'm glad to hear from all of you that it maybe planted a seed or set a spark. And I honestly believe that all of us have this capacity to live our most infinite creative lives, but also our most infinite financial abundance, because it's there. It's totally there for you. It's sitting there waiting. Remember, whatever you ask of the universe, it gives it to you. So set those intentions. It's completely possible. I am living proof, and there's many others like me too that are living proof of living in a space of absolute infinite abundance. And it just starts with that knowingness within you. So thank you. Thank you for letting me share today. And I hope that we can all together walk this path as creatives, live this path of infinite abundance. So a lot of gratitude to you guys.
That's it, ladies and germs. That concludes our Core Circle Live today. How can people find you, Lorraine? Online, like on Instagram or LM Projects, so that I can put it into the YouTube little thing description, Majiggy.
You can find me, let's see, what is my Instagram? I have a couple of Instagrams, but You can
Ellen
join.
Projects is your Instagram, and
Oh yeah, LM projects, which are hardly ever post, but you can definitely, I'll give you both. LM projects is Instagram, and then that's my art stuff, the fine art, and then just me is Molina Lorraine. Molina Lorraine.
while you're doing that, Lorraine, next week we have Federico Rueda, and the week after that, there's nobody slotted yet. We do it pretty democratically here. I'll post about it, but if you're interested in, especially Core Circle members, so Bruno, Linda already left, but I think it would be great, Bruno, for you to go after Federico. Same stage, same time, same process, or same circle kind of dynamics that we have here. And Lorraine, for sure. Well, first of all, everybody, please share in terms of next steps. When I'm going to repost the live today or tomorrow, please share it with everyone on your socials. Kevin, please invite Lorraine to your blog, to your podcast. I think one of the things that's important, we're each other's teachers. You know, I consider Lorraine one of my teachers, spiritual and otherwise. And the path that we all travel together as creatives is, you know, unique to each of us, but at the same time, when we share each other's journey, you know, I used to say it poetically and like, hello, fellow traveler, my name is, you know, I'm not just flaky. What are you? I'm headed this direction. And, you know, do you want to travel together? And you're like, sure, let's travel together. And in that path of journeying towards, you know, our objectives and our collective, you know, goals, that's where we share our stories and where we are able to grow from being in the presence of each other, and in the messiness and in the, you know, reality that is all. And we attract each other as we are where we are. And then when we bring in a drop of, you know, possibility, like what Lorraine has shared with us today, into the community, it sparks and spreads. And I would love someone to take the point on the investment club within our collective to help me with that, because I definitely need help. One of my challenges is that I am a Taurus and I don't ask for help and then I get overwhelmed. But keeping it positive, thank you, everybody. Have a really good rest of your day and sending you lots of love. Thank you, Lorraine, for that beautiful, beautiful share.
Thank
See you guys
you.
all.
Yes, thank you,
Enjoy the
Lorraine.
football.
Thanks, guys. Bye.
Ciao.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Hi, thank you.